Hello and welcome into another edition of the Fore-All Podcast. I'm Jesse Morrison alongside Max Bechtold. And Max, we have a winner of the Grant Thornton Invitational. It was a close tournament, and the team of Jake Knapp and Patty Tavatanakit, they won the tournament with a 27 under score in the 3 day tournament. Just overall, you're not just on them, but just overall your thoughts on the tournament as a whole this year.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good tournament. Maybe not like as exciting or as groundbreaking as last year kind of felt with this, but it provided great winners. Jake Knapp and Patty Tavatanakit both seemingly really embraced this tournament. They seemed like they're having a lot of fun out there. I thought they're the team that looked like they were having the most fun. I don't know if they're having the most fun because they're winning or if they're winning because they're having the most fun. But it definitely showed, and they got out to a huge lead right away on the front nine the first day, and really didn't let it up that much. And so sometimes that does lead to maybe a less exciting tournament. I know they only won by one, but it really didn't feel that close. It felt like they kind of had it wrapped up over the last few holes. Um, but it was nice to see groups like Brooke Henderson and Corey Connors kind of make a little bit of a run on Sunday. That's what you want, is somebody who can go really low early and kind of challenge the leaders, and especially when it's a star like Brooke Henderson. So yeah, I thought it was a good event with great winners.
And Tom Kim, Gino Titakun, a pair that we talked about a lot last week on the podcast, they came in second. Again, Gino Titakun just continues to show up in these events.
But
It
here's the thing, especially on Sunday, if she would have played to her normal standards, I actually think they would have won. It seemed a little bit like Tom Kim was carrying them in that final round, especially on the back nine. Gino hit a few shots that were just really kind of out of character for her. I don't know if it's like just the like overwhelming like what's been happening the last few weeks. But yeah, she did hit some bad shots, but as predicted, like Gino playing her B game is still better than most players playing their A game.
and third, you've got Akshay Bhatia, Jennifer Kupcho. Some of the contenders that we talked about, uh, Jason Day, Lydia Ko, the pair from last year that won, they ended up finishing in sixth. So a little bit surprising there, I think. They were my pick going in. Cameron Young and Conklin finishing tied for seventh. I think we could have seen them being higher in this tournament. And then the one that's really surprising to me and probably to you, even though it was not the pairing that we expected at the beginning of the tournament because of Tony Finau's withdrawal, but Daniel Berger, Nelly Corda, 16 under, 13th, 10 shots back, just not their weekend. What do you see out of them that you know why did they kind of not play to their standard, or at least Nelly's standard?
Yeah, I think obviously this is a really tough situation for Daniel Berger to be thrown into. It's a little bit easier when you consider that you get the number one player in the world next to you, like, but that's also brings a lot of pressure. And I think Daniel Berger probably had a lot of pressure on him. Wasn't totally probably prepared. You talk about Nelly and Finau are two players that have been around each other enough that they know each other's kind of tendencies, they know each other's games, they know how their games complement each other. And Daniel Berger just didn't have that, obviously, with her. And so I think, he stepped in, did a fine job. But if he had been, if he had taken over for Finau a month ago, I think we would have seen a little bit of a different result. It was just tough, 2 days before the tournament started to be kind of thrown into the fire like that. So that's mostly what I chalk it up to. I mean, Daniel Berger's still a good player. He's obviously well past his prime. But yeah, I do just think this was a kind of lack of preparation issue.
Yeah, and it's just a bummer in my opinion because you want to see Nelly Korda on Sundays in the lead of any tournament that she's in, and that's
But
it's a
it's
bummer when she's not.
and especially ones that can reach a crossover audience. And we're going to talk about another one pretty soon here, but like the Grant Thornton Invitational, if Nelly was, on Sunday being shown a lot, you're pulling in, a men's audience that maybe hasn't watched her at all, but certainly not very much. And so it is a little bit of a bummer to see her not there, but it is nice to see, players like Gino Titakun up there who seem to be the superstars of the future.
Yeah, another disappointing one. Ricky Fowler, Lexi Thompson down even lower than Nelly Korda's pairing. They finished 13 under 14th. Uh, I was hoping that they would be a little bit better than that. I mean, they're both not in their primes at all anymore. Obviously, Lexi's retiring, but they're fan favorite players, and you'd hope to see them be a little higher.
It's a bummer to not see them even in position where they can make a run on Sunday. Like even if you come in on Sunday like 6 strokes back, but like you can post a score pretty early or something, that's fun. But they just were never really in it.
All right, before we move on to the PNC, do you have anything else you want to talk about regarding the Grant Thornton?
No, just that I do hope we get a little bit of a better field next year. If PGA Tour and Live come together, which it's seeming like they're kind of in the process of actually doing, that just opens up the field a little bit more. And I could totally see players like Bryson DeChambeau really enjoying playing in this format. So maybe that is a path to having a little bit of a better field in this event. Hopefully Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy aren't playing in some kind of crypto event with Bryson and Brooks next year, like they are today. And I don't think anyone cares about that thing. But so hopefully we see a better field next year. But it is fun to see all the players that do play in this really seem to enjoy it and embrace the week, which it seemed like was the case.
I had no idea until you just mentioned it that Bryson and Brooks and Rory and Scotty Scheffler were playing in some crypto event. I think I might have seen an ad for it, maybe, but I'm not sure if it was the same. It was probably the same thing, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it would be cool to see Bryson and Brooks,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well,
then
I think would both play. I think both of them would play.
yeah, and I think it would be cool to see Ricky Fowler or not. Ricky already played. Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler also in this event because
Especially we've talked about like I can kind of give some people a break, even Scotty Scheffler a break, because he lives in Texas. This is around the holidays. Now, obviously, he has no problem playing in this crypto event, but like for the players that live in Florida basically full time, it doesn't take that much to go out and play in this event for a few days, which is a really great event and a true way to grow the game.
and does it really bother? Would it really be that hard for Scotty to hop on his PJ and get there? I mean, I'm sure he has a PJ. If Ian Poulter has a PJ,
Oh yeah,
then I'm
Scotty
that Scotty
definitely.
Scotty has a PJ. So I think he could hop on that and get to Florida. And I don't think it would be the world's most difficult travel situation. He wouldn't have a connecting flight in Newark like I had when I flew from Phoenix to Newark and then Newark to Fort Lauderdale. I don't think
Yeah.
Scotty is going to experience that level of travel.
No, he won't.
All right, PNC Championship, Max. How excited are you?
I'm excited. This is a really, really fun event. That I think has, it's become known as the Charlie Woods event, essentially. Like, this is where everybody watches Charlie Woods. I think the novelties wore out a little bit, but it's still kind of fun to watch him. But there's a lot of groups that it's fun to watch. And yeah, we got some LPGA players. We got Annika Sorenstam, Nelly Korda, so like the greatest of all time and the greatest current. Annika Sorenstam's son Will is a lot of fun to watch out there. Also, he arguably stole the show from Charlie Woods last year, I think. Um, So that's a lot of fun. And then we've got Steve Stricker playing with his daughter, Izzy Stricker, who plays for the University of Wisconsin women's golf team. So that's a fun group that we'll also be kind of following and looking at. So yeah, this should be a good event. It's a good, fun event. It's just 2 days. It's scramble. Everybody seems to be in a good mood always when they're there. So it should be a good time.
This is the field for this year's event. I won't go through. I can go through every name. It's not that long.
There's not very many.
Um, it's got a lot of cool names, and I'll explain a little bit why it's so cool. Stuart Sink and Connor Sink. Connor Sink is Stuart Sink's son. Fred Couples, you gotta love him. He's always one under at the Masters on day one. And Hunter Hanneman, his stepson. John Daly and John Daly the second. They'll pull out some funny outfits for sure. David Duval and Brady Duval, who Brady Duval is his son. Nick Faldo and Matthew Faldo. Matthew Faldo is Nick Faldo's son. Nick Faldo, will probably bring out some bad jokes. Padraig Harrington and Patty Harrington. Patty Harrington is Padraig's son. Trevor Immelman and his son Jacob Immelman. Nelly Korda, Peter Korda, Nelly's father. Matt Kuchar and Carson Kuchar, Matt Kuchar's son. Shout out Matt Kuchar and Nelly Korda for both playing in the past 2 weeks events that they really didn't have to play in. I know it's a sponsor thing for Nelly to play in the Grant Thornton, but she could feasibly not play.
I think she'd play anyway in that too.
Yeah, for sure. Here's a cool one. Bernhard Langer and Jason Langer. Jason Langer is Bernhard's son. Tom Lehman, Sean Lehman's Tom's son. Justin Leonard and his son Luke Leonard. Mark O'Meara and his son Sean O'Meara. Gary Player is playing in this, and his grandson Alexander Hall. Gary Player's like 90 years old. That's incredible.
Yes, he is. That's not even an exaggeration.
Nick Price and his son Greg Price. Vijay Singh and his son Cass Singh. I think that's how you say it.
Cass.
Cass, Annika Sorenstam and her son Will McGee, Steve Stricker and his daughter Izzy Stricker, Lee Trevino and his son Daniel Trevino, and then Tiger Woods and his son Charlie Woods. So this is what is really cool to me about this event. So you've got the greatest women's player of all time in this event, Annika Sorenstam.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down, there's really no debate about it at this point. Then there is a debate, but some would say that Tiger Woods is the greatest of all time. Personally, it's Jack for me because Tiger played in an era with some not so great players when he dominated, but we don't have to go into that.
Just to get into it for a second, were those players not that great, or was Tiger just that much better than all of them?
See, that's the debate. That's the debate.
We're not going to look at that. We're not going to go into
but that. Anyway. Potentially the GOAT on the men's side, Tiger Woods. And then you've got the GOAT of the senior tour, Bernhard Langer. So you've got, and then the current best women's player in the world, and Nelly Korda. So this event is so cool for those four players in general. And you should tune in just for that. I know it's cool for the Charlie Woods effect and everything, but you will get to see, four of the best golfers of all time in their respective tours play on the same, in the same tournament. So I'm excited for it.
And it's really a chance to like see their personalities a little bit more, because like this is really where Tiger, obviously like the 2019 Masters was a big part of it also, but this event I think is where Tiger really became truly likable. Like people liked his dominance early on, like people liked all that. But I think this event, people watching him interact with Charlie, I think that's where people really started to say, oh, like I like Tiger now. Like this is like a guy who I can root for again. And so I think it's a great chance to show personality. Annika, it was kind of the same way last year playing with Will. It it was so much fun to watch. And it was so much fun to watch her personality kind of come out through that.
And just going through some of these teams, um, who do you kind of see as the maybe the favorite to win it all?
I think it's the Sings. I know they've won it before. Cass Sing appears almost to be at times like a PGA Tour level player. So they've almost got like two pros out there. Like it is a really, really strong group. The Dailies are another one. I don't know where John Daly Sr.'s game is right now, but John Daly Jr. is probably one of the best non-pros in it. I mean, he's going to be a pro very soon, I'd say. So I would say those two teams, they're not, I'm not taking any big swings. These are kind of generic picks, I think. But I do think one of those two teams will win. In scramble format, it helps a lot to have two strong players who you can take a shot from at any given time and count on it being good. And so I do think it's going to be one of those teams. Yeah.
And for people that are unfamiliar with this event, just kind of what's the format, which days, of the week is this going to be held on? Just kind of previewing that part of it.
Yeah, so it'll be on Saturday and Sunday. They're both scrambles, two-player scrambles. And yeah, that so there's some pretty low scores. There's some people that go out there and shoot some pretty wild numbers. But yeah, that's kind of the format. It's a little bit easier than the Grant Thornton where every day it changed. This one doesn't. So yeah, and it's really the reason for that is to kind of protect from some of the not as great, maybe players. Um, you know, you talk about some of the younger players, especially some of the kids, not having too embarrassing of moments. If you hit a bad shot, it's like, okay, you can just move on to the next one, because hopefully your parent put you into a good position. So
All right, so you've got uh, either the Sings or the Dailies.
yes,
I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's gonna. I don't know. I can't pick Tiger because this is his first event back after yet another surgery. So who's even going to be able to make it through the entire tournament, which is sad, but it's the reality these days. So maybe I'll go with Annika's team. I'll
yeah,
go with her and her son.
yeah,
You
that's a
know,
fun one.
she's the goat. She's the well, I guess if you're talking senior tour, you could say that Bernhard Langer is the goat of that tour. But if you're talking about tours that people in their primes play, Annika is the one that has no debate in this. So I'm gonna go with Annika for
Also, though,
this one.
another group, Bernard Longer, might not be the GOAT of the Champions Tour for too much longer because of Steve Stricker, and I do think that's a solid pairing, he and Izzy.
Yeah.
Izzy's a college golfer, played 6 rounds this year, averaged 77. Like she's going to be able to put good shots out there. So maybe they'll be able to get some fire this year.
All right. Well, Max, what should people check out on the site? Obviously, you will have plenty of coverage of the PNC, but what else should everyone look at?
Yeah, tune in. We're gonna have a lot of coverage of the PNC. We're gonna mostly focus on Korda, Annika, and the Strickers, but also we'll still have full recaps. We'll still talk about Tiger Woods on the site, obviously, because when you get a chance to talk about Tiger Woods, you take that. And so yeah, we're gonna have all that up. Our fashion correspondent Vicky DeRazio just got back from Japan a couple weeks ago and she put up a great article that was kind of talking about golf in general in Japan, like how it goes when you're playing rounds, like what the customs kind of are, and also dug into some Japanese fashion. So that's really cool. That's up on the site. So yeah, and other than that, just coverage of the PNC.
All right. Well, that is it for this edition of the Fore-All Podcast. You can go check out Max's stuff on foreall.com. That's FOER -ALL.com. And we'll talk to you soon.